Hi everyone, good morning and good afternoon. I'm windblown. We went down to the beach today. Fun little story to tell you. I forgot to grab my little rock. Oh well. I'm gonna let y'all get in here. It's a big day. It's a really, really big energy day, actually. Do you want your drink? Hold on. Bud's getting himself situated. Um, yeah, we had a really big day and we're outside for most of it with the dogs. The dogs are both at my feet, just completely passed out. Like it was a really, really big energy day. So for you guys in the States and you're starting out your day, just be prepared. It's not a bad thing. It's just it was a lot. And about a half an hour ago, I was sitting here and I was like, I don't want to do the daily tune in today. And the only reason why I didn't want to is because I feel so drained just from being in and out in this energy all day. I'm completely drained. So I want to give you the kind of the inspiration for this message of it being about following the breadcrumbs. That kept coming out to me throughout the day, and I'll tell you why. But why that saying is rather important to me is when I was living in California, and that's when my life was kind of like on the outside it looked okay, but on the inside it was really not. And it was getting to the point of this is when I was my first marriage. And this when I was getting to the point I had these two young kids and this marriage that I just like it wasn't coming back. It wasn't savable. And we were at that point where it was kind of like you got to do something. And I was really starting to connect in to my intuition and starting to grow that relationship. And I'd always hear like just follow the breadcrumbs. And what I started to understand from that, like I was like, what's the breadcrumb? Like, what is it? And then all of a sudden I would see a feather and I would be like, oh, an angel feather. And then I would see something else. And then I would that would stand out to me and that would call my attention. And I knew that as long as I was seeing the breadcrumbs and they were, small symbols that were put in front of me by my team way back then. This is in the early, or 2010s, 2011. And they were, constantly giving me these little symbols of like, just follow the breadcrumbs. And when you're following the breadcrumbs and you're seeing the breadcrumbs, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. And I mean, and feathers were everywhere, everywhere. So much so that they became my life support. So I tattooed them onto my hand, and feathers have always been something for me. And actually today it was funny because I had even had this t-shirt on, my little feather redwood California t-shirt. And so today, now skip forward back to today, we were going on Bud and I were going on a walk, and it's been a while since I've really tuned into feathers because I feel like I now have more of a communication style. I don't really need to find symbols outside of me anymore to know that I'm like really having conversations. I just know it now. So it's interesting because like I forget about the nostalgia of like finding a feather sometimes. And I had forgotten all about that whole thing because I just, as I say to you guys, I talk to my team as I'm walking. And so it's just like we're in constant communication. So I don't need the signs and symbols that they're around anymore. And so Bud and I go to this beach and we're on this walk and we go down these stairs and we end up on this beach and there's nobody there. And we don't even know why. I was like, honey, is it private? Is there something going on? Like, what's going on? Why is there no one on this pristinely beautiful beach? I have no idea to even now, except for it was supposed to be ours for the time. And there's like these massive like limestone pads of rock, and then there's stones, and the stones just mesmerize me. I love them. I love the stones, and there's so many different ones. So we're walking And Bud looks down and he goes, "Babe, look at this rock." He's like, "What does this look like to you?" And I want to try to show it to you guys, but I'm gonna post it. I'll post it on the Telegram group and the Instagram group, or not group, but my Instagram. But it's hard to see. But there was this like perfectly shaped feather etched in this rock. And immediately I was like, oh, the nostalgia came back. And then I was like, it's the evolution of the feather because it's now etched in rock. It's not just blowing across my pathway telling me I'm on the right path. It is now etched, like this is part of my trail, like the trail is obvious now. The trail. So like a little pathway, you kind of follow it, you're not sure, you're looking for like, is this the pathway? Is the pathway? It's kind of grown over in spots. But then when you reach the trail, then it's a little bit wider. It looks like a trail. And I just immediately in that moment just started getting downloads of, follow it, keep following the breadcrumbs. We're going back to that game again. We're going back to that game because the game gets even more exciting now. Because for those of us who have been doing this work and who have gotten to this point where we are able to take in these energies and take in this light frequency and have it still be, have us be healthy and have us like today I was like euphoric. I think that's why I'm so tired now. I was literally euphoric and just walking around I was just like I don't even know what I'm looking at. These blues look so blue and then I'm seeing feathers etched in it and then we're walking. Hold on, the story gets even better. So then we're walking and Bud has an eye like he can spot things so his eye for or his attention to detail is like so fascinating to me because the things that he can see when he sees them, I'm like, how in the hell did he ever see that? Whereas like I'm scanning the whole perspective. Like I like to take the whole world in at one thing, and he's like, he zeroes in on the coolest thing in his little like eyesight. And then he takes a step and his eyesight changes, right? So he just finds things. So he's like, babe, come here, look at this rock. And this rock, I'm going to try to zoom in. It had this perfect cross right there. And then he's like, and do you see the sun? And I was like, I don't see it. And it looks like just a little etching right here. And then it's got little rays that come off of it right here. And and like this, so then I stood there, I was like, well, holy hell, now we're getting crosses and the Christ consciousness is coming in. Like these frequencies that we're talking about are the Christ consciousness. And at one point, I just took my shoes off and like stuck them in the water. And I was sitting there and I closed my eyes and the sun was it's full on sun. Like it's just flooding. It's like like a tidal wave of energy. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can sense it. And I was sitting there in the sun and all of a sudden I kept hearing, we've hit the critical mass. We've hit the critical mass. And remember, I don't know, I think it was last week. I'm gonna take this off now. Actually, it was chilly, so I have weird layers on. Last week we were talking about how 51% of the planetary consciousness, when we reach 51% of the overall consciousness, then we hit the tipping point of where we go from the minority to over to the majority of consciousness being on the higher levels of consciousness, and that takes us over the tipping point to where we start to like everything starts to unfold in succession and quick succession. Remember what's the velocity is going to pick up. And when I was sitting on the beach today, I heard we hit the 51%. So whatever that means, it's nothing, nothing to be, it's nothing scary, but I think we're going to see, and we're already kind of seeing the crescendo of some pretty major global announcements almost being made about some surprising things. And then we can all feel it for those of us in this world, we can feel, we have been feeling this building, almost, and now it's the climax. So whatever that means in your world, just expect it and just hold on because where you will know that you're on the path to it, and it's not going to be like this big kabam kind of. This is like such a subtle process. It like smacks you in the head most days, this ascension process, but at the same time, it's so subtle that it makes you question. You're like, is this really happening? Am I really doing? And yes, you are. So because it's like everything is so subtle, because we're wanting, our egos want this big spectacular crescendo of a movie, right? And maybe we'll get that in some way. But for many, it's going to be just a moment of time where it's like, I get it now. And then you follow the breadcrumbs. You follow to the next step, and whatever those symbols are for you, you will know that you're on that higher dimensional pathway into the fifth dimensional. You're on the bridge that takes you over into the fifth dimensional expression of your life. So if you're being asked, remember with the changes, we last couple of days we've been talking about how we're going to be requested to change, and those change requests are already approved. So whatever you want to change in your life, whatever is required of you to change and elevate, so that you can shake loose all of the stuff, that all the parts that are no longer assembled to you anymore. They're not assembled because they aren't the correct resonance. They are no longer resonating with you. So by ascending into those higher frequencies, you have to let this stuff go. We already know this, but it's still happening, and it's like like the crummier stuff, so it's all the stuff that's easy to shake loose, but it's just a pain in the neck a little bit sometimes. So just get after it, because that is what is the pathway is now completely open. It's a trail. We are like, you are on it. You are on that timeline. We're in the elevator, the ascension elevator, and it's going up and it's going up and it's going up. But if you get to a point and you still have some of this stuff, the elevator gets stuck because it's still on a tether. So that's why we're having to still shed and purge. If you're in that phase, I personally can feel, and I'm telling you this not to be like, but I don't have anything else to shed, because I probably do. Once you say you're done, something else comes up. However, what I do know is I do feel very confident that the worst of the work has already been done. I know that for sure. And anything else that comes up, I know, like, it's fine. So there's nothing that I fear. There's nothing more I'm like, "Oh, I hope this doesn't happen," before whatever this is going to be blast me into the next life, because I can't take a lot of stuff with me into the next life from this past life. So anything else needs to be shed loose, but I'm in a point now where that all feels easy. So the amount of, like, I've been talking about peace, but today went up to a whole level of euphoria, where I was just like, I mean, euphoric, blissful. And after a while, I was like, okay, I'm done with this, because it's just a lot of energy too. And then still have to walk back up that hill to my place before I can sit and relax. So it's still this weird paradox of balancing the emotions and staying in that place of love and peace. Because when you're up here, you're in the extreme. This is nice sometimes, like, to be in bliss is nice, but to live there, it's just too much. All the extreme is shame, not nice to be in, and when you're in it, because it feels really yucky. So our work is to balance ourselves between these spaces of love and joy, because this is where that virtuous balance of functionality and flow come in. So the breadcrumbs are on this timeline, on the love and joy timeline. Okay. So just keep that in mind, because after we left that beach, I will tell you, I didn't find any more breadcrumbs, and I was like, "Ooh, maybe I should be at the beach a little bit more." So it's an interesting thing to contemplate. Why did I find so many of these symbols, these breadcrumbs that were left there for me to understand my own personal journey, and to download this message to then to share with you guys? Why was it that there were two or three different obvious symbols there for me at that beach? I don't know. So maybe I'm being called back there, and we're going to go back there tomorrow, probably, unless the breadcrumbs steer me somewhere else. So interesting things that are happening. It's getting kind of trippy. And somebody said that the other day on our Ascension Bank call, and it was perfect because it is. It's like getting trippy in that like things are happening. You're like, man, did that really just happen? Did I really just see that? That's the craziest thing. And yet, at the same time, we are also knowing that with these expanded consciousness, with your higher perspectives, you are making contact. You are having new experiences as your integrated multidimensional self. So yes, you're having new expanded experiences, and you're trying to have fun with it, trying to process it. At the same time, your mind's like, I don't even know if I just saw that, but your soul is like, you saw it. See, good job, you're ascending and you're a master now. So a lot of really cool things, very subtle though. Remember, it's very subtle, and that's why the awareness of every now moment is so important, because it is such a subtle process, and one moment is just amplified, you know, exponentially in the energy, when it's just one little thing that's noticed outside of what you would normally see, and your normal is way higher of a perspective than what we have always known as normal. So as we ascend higher, these little nuggets, these little pieces of data will start to appear in every now moment that weren't there, that you couldn't see just probably a day ago, or maybe even an hour previously, because you've ascended just high enough where now something else in that higher reality can be seen. And we're ascending so quickly that all of a sudden it's going to start messing with you, and you're going to be like, wait a minute. But you're seeing new things, and you're experiencing new things, and you're going to be seeing new colors and smelling new scents, and everything is going to become more and more amplified, because we are on we are being carried into that higher realm of existence. Okay, so good stuff happening, no matter whatever they tell you out there. There is good stuff happening, and really sacred stuff happening. You are safe. You just stay in your power, stay in your sovereignty, stay in your I am presence, and just watch this unfold, and look for your own breadcrumbs on your own path. You'll know them. Okay, good morning. I take a deep breath. My heart just like came open really, really quickly. Okay. Hello, all. London in the house. Hi, Kazembe. Wow, the energies today. I can barely keep my eyes open. So draining. I know. I'm telling you, that's why I'm probably going to pass out in the sun right here after this. Cause I literally, like, I mean, we were downing water. I could not believe how fast, like, Bud and I went through our water bottle, and then we came up the hill, and we sat here and just chugged water. So make sure that's a reminder. Obviously, like, a ridiculous amount of water, because we have to anchor in, and also purge at the same time. So the water will do what it knows to do, right, to your body, and your body will know what to do as well. I am tripping out and not on any substance. Articles on Lamestream regarding the probability that we are living in a matrix. And after my dreams last night, I am like, whoa, it's really connecting. Yeah, I did, actually, never mind. I'll come back to that in another daily tune in. Greetings, all. Totally out of it yesterday. Drained, nausea, headache. Whew, I hope energies are more compatible with me today. Um, that's interesting, Carly, because at first I want to say, well, if it was the same energies as yesterday, you would be much more compatible with them today, because you would have anchored them in. However, between now, we have less than a week before the spring equinox. I think it's on Monday. It's the 21st, which is Bud and I's our anniversary. It's like so exciting. Like, the equinox and the solstice are like my big holidays. I celebrate those. So I'm super stoked that the solstice is on Monday, and so is our anniversary. Um, However, we are in, like, that portal where the heavens are, the veil goes real thin during these portals between now and like a week after the equinox. We are a flood of wide open energies, and they are amplified. They're amplified a thousandfold, and that we are going to be bombarded. So this is going to be a really intense time of grounding and anchoring into these frequencies. Oh, and while Bud and I were at the beach, we had two solar flares which hit the earth at in about 8 minutes after their release. So there was so much happening at that time when we were on the beach, like full sun by ourselves. Like the whole world was like ours in that moment, with the sun and all the elements and everything. It was really um I want to say intense, but it's not. It was just really sacred, you know. It was a really powerful, sacred time that we were there. So I felt a lot of stuff shifting that I think now, we're all going to be feeling it, but we're all going to be seeing it now. Like now, it's with the five senses. It's in that world now. So we're seeing everything that we're feeling as well. If you just pay attention, you'll start to make the connection between the energy that you're feeling and maybe what you felt last week, and you'll see it showing up in your physical world. That's a really cool thing, and that's the breadcrumbs to pay attention to. And that's really honing your skill set into a higher level of perspective, a higher level of connectivity, so that you can now feel energies and kind of store that memory and then see how they show up in the physical. So you're starting to make some pretty big skill set connections this week. Good morning from California. I'm so happy I made your live. Much love and light to you all. Hi, Button. Thank you for being here. Sorry, I'm reading and trying to respond. I'm multitasking, which I'm not very good at. Did we hit it? We did. We did. I don't know what that means now, so we just have to pay attention. See what happens now when we reach 51%. Now things really start to unfold, and you know, I have lots of predictions of what that might mean, but it doesn't help me to make predictions, because then we put our attention on that and miss other possibilities. So the possibilities I'm going to keep wide open, but whatever it means when we reach the 51% of consciousness, and that tipping point, what that really means is a call in. I like in my mind, I believe that that could call in the solar flash, which again we talked about on here, is not going to be like a kind of thing that we see in Star Wars. It will be a subtle. I mean, we may be experiencing now with the solar flashes back to back earlier today. We've had a lot of solar activity, which means there's a lot of consciousnesses being upgraded really fast in this ascension tunnel, in this ascension portal that we're in, the elevator. So there's a lot of people coming online, coming online, and all of a sudden it's like, ding, now truth and unity consciousness is starting to beam. So that's always a good thing. I just don't know how we're going to see it show up with our physical eyes, but it'll be interesting to watch. Love your feather story. What is the temperature of the water? I mean, is it cold or warmish? It was cold. I got in and walked right back out, and my feet got achy. So it's cold, but I don't know. I don't have the degrees. I'm not good at that. I had some amazingly interesting conversations. Oh, I did that Skippy thing. Wow, you guys have said a lot with clients yesterday while working on horses way out of the box, and so cool. All right, that's good news, Christine. I like hearing people kind of talking, expanding their minds with brand new and expansive conversations. I love that. It's in dreams as well. How I feel it. It's in dreams as well. I'm getting aha experience and feeling tingles and chills. Could it be the DNA waking up? It could be a lot of things. It could just be you, waking up to a higher version of yourself. So the answer is yes to all of it. Also, on my drive home yesterday, I saw about a dozen interesting vehicles that had government plates on them, including 3 unmarked semis with same plates. I couldn't get any read on it. Oh, interesting. I did read that there's a lot of influencers in the world of truth that are being visited by government agents, and are being asked to be part of an extensive communication broadcast of some sort to support whatever may be coming. So I've seen a couple actually who made videos about it. So I'm just keep my I don't know enough to like to say anything to have any opinion on it yet, but it was enough that I was kind of like, that's interesting. And then the fact that you just said that, Christine, that's a breadcrumb I'm going to keep in my mind. So interesting stuff is happening, and we've been saying since I don't remember when it was, maybe December. Like there's so much happening behind the scenes that was happening, in spiritually for us, that was happening energetically for us, but it was also happening in the physical realms for all of the dark sinister stuff kind of being organized over here. There has been this light expansive stuff being organized over here. I also read something today that actually I didn't read it. uh the matrix, the new earth matrix energy grid has been in creation for over 50 years. So for 50 years, it has been people like us who have come in during their day and did the work to build that grid in consciousness. And that to me was like, oh my God, I felt bad for the people who just got started 50 years ago because they're probably so tired. I know it's only been, I don't know, 12 years, 12, 13, 14 years. Actually, my son just turned 14 years since I've been on this journey, like holding the light, doing everything I could. And I'm like, I am just kind of done, but I'm really not. So those poor, I shouldn't say those poor people, but I did have a little bit of compassion for them. But we get to do this. We get to be here and hold this space while we watch the world unfold in front of us, this new world. That is the coolest thing, because if we had been around, starting this journey 50 years ago, I probably would have been pissed off that I missed like the good stuff, right? But we all know that they're not, they're not missing anything, and it's a kind of a joke that I'm saying, but at the same time, it is really, really kind of cool that we are holding this space during this time. Like, we know something about history that majority of our planet doesn't even know exists. There are so many people that don't even know about, what is happening. And yes, they're going to wake up, but they're going to wake up and go through their own stuff and maybe not even know that this beautiful, beautiful, organized and deliberate act of liberating our humanity has been going on. And the history and what they know of is this, this war that's going on, and the inflation and all of the news stories and the history stories, and not knowing that we are part of some of the greatest times in planetary history, and we are aware of it. I feel so, so grateful that I chose this path. It sure as hell hasn't been an easy one, but I would much rather know what I know now than be completely blind to it and be afraid that my kids are gonna, like, we're all gonna be taken out by World War III. But like, I know that doesn't exist, I know that's not happening. So to have this kind of understanding and awareness and wisdom, and hold that time and hold that space for our planet with you all, that is such a highly regarded and honored position to be in at the moment, and I'm super grateful for it. So thank you all for holding that space for our entire planet, and doing that here and coming in here every day. So beautiful, and wishing each other well and supporting each other. I'm just so, so grateful. Some time change, yeah, full moon. Oh, I forgot about the full moon. Yeah, oh Lord, full moon. We got that though, y'all. Like, for those of us who are here, like, we got it. Yeah, it can be hard sometimes. It can be a little bit of a nuisance, but at the same time, it's getting easier and easier. We're like, this again. Okay. Whew, sit down and like, sit with that, whatever cut that's coming up, sit with that anxiety, look at it. Oh, half of you is not mine. Half of this, okay, we'll deal with this. And, like, you just know what to do. It's just to sit down and be like, all right, we're going into it. And before we know it, we're through it, and we've now up leveled. Like, we're getting to be masters of the up level. We go through the initiation, and yes, it's yucky. And then all of a sudden we're at the next level and we're good to go. And then we're going to keep climbing, and then we're going to be holding people's hands, and we're going to be helping people. That's what we do. And we're getting it now so that we're not as exhausted. Although right now we are exhausted. We are a little bit tired, but it's only for a short amount of time here. Purge. You get there's so many. I don't want to miss anybody's either. Articles out there about this being a matrix. There are articles out there about this being a matrix. Yes, it's very much a matrix for sure. Things are flying here in my reality. Manifesting is so easy. Selling my home off market is so easy, and we get what we want. Easy breezy. Everyone's happy. It's for everyone's best and highest good. And so it is, Sharon. I feel that. It was one of the top stories when I jumped on the Firefox platform at the office this morning. This is why we are here living it instead of watching it as a consciousness out in the universe. We are here to touch and feel and experience it. Yes, I love that. Michelle says, I was born 57 years ago and I've been on the conscious journey for 20 years. Whoo, 29 years. So I've been crazy for many, many moons. Used to be being called crazy, but I know better some days at least. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, call me crazy. I don't care if like you want more. I'd rather have more of me crazy than more of like the other crazies I've seen on the news over the years. Who knows if they're even really in existence? Sweet Michelle, age is precious as to how our souls collect all things. Yes. Okay, there we are. We've gone through some stuff. My lips are sticking to my teeth because I'm thirsty. So I'm gonna go and enjoy this beautiful sunset that's happening out in front of me. Y'all just keep drinking lots of water. Please remember to ground. And also, please remember just to pay attention because I think this stuff is quite fascinating. It's quite fun. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. I will see you tomorrow on Thursday, and we'll see where we are at that point. Talk to you then. Mwah. Bye.